From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weekend weather.
Hey folks, good morning. I'm back with you here in the Home Weather Center, taking a look at what we can expect for today. Of course, I'll be back in the Weather Center in just an hour or two. But for now, let's see what we have in store here for today. And we got a lot to talk about really for today and the next several days. Of course, we got that severe chances tonight, cool down after today, and maybe even some winter weather in the midweek. But first, let's get through this weekend here, especially through today. Now, we got those thunderstorm chances here already this morning, but the severe chances that we're talking about later tonight, that's what's keeping us on our toes, right? And of course, I'll be back in the Weather Center in just an hour or two, and Taylor Plott will be there. Fred Gossage, the Chief, the Great, will be there as well. Sam Camp will be with us as well, and Ben Luna will be on standby. So we are fully staffed here over the next couple of hours, and really all through today, all through tonight, and we'll stay into tomorrow morning if we need to. Don't you worry about it. So we'll be fully staffed, taking care of what we can. Warnings, watches, we'll let you know. So first things first, this morning, we've seen some of that convection. It's what we call as elevated, right? So a little noisy, but mostly harmless. Now, when thunder roars go indoors, this is a true axiom for all times, but this is not the main severe weather threat, nothing like that. Just a little noisy, some heavy downpours. That's what we've been seeing over the last couple of hours. But as we head through this morning, and especially 10 to midday or so, and especially into the early afternoon, we start to see that lifting off to our north. So we're not going to necessarily be talking rain all day. We actually start to clear out a little bit, but still some scattered shower chances as we head through the afternoon. Again, 12 to 2 or so, that's whenever the wind continues to just surge out of the south. That's why we have that wind advisory, in fact, for the non-thunderstorm wind gusts, and those temperatures back to the mid to upper 60s across the area. Now, if it overperforms, gets to 70, that would be, probably more moisture and maybe some stronger storms, but that's besides the point. We'll keep an eye on that as we head over the next, I'd say 6 hours after 2. So we're talking into sunset, 6, 7 o'clock. That's whenever we start to see the main threat starting to develop off to our west. Now, you notice two things in this frame. This is kind of what we've been paying attention to. You got a line off towards the I-40 corridor forming here about 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. But out ahead of it, we also notice some cells developing, and if those cells can take advantage of the atmosphere, we might be talking a tornado threat, some severe weather with those as well. So we got to keep a very close eye on that because, like I said, if they can take advantage of those conditions out there, well, they could start spinning and a few tornadoes could be possible. So we'll watch that very, very carefully. Again, this is starting probably, I'd say, around 6 to 8 p.m. here for the main threat as we head through this time frame. Initially, like I said, some of those prefrontal supercells, as we call them, could be posing a threat in that respect, but then as we head through, I'd say 8, 9, 10 o'clock, that's when that line pushes east, kind of absorbs those cells, and becomes this one massive, massive line. Very impressive in that respect. Few areas of damaging winds are probable, if not likely. In fact, it could be fairly widespread. I mean, look at the axis of that, right? That's a very long line. So we could be talking relatively widespread damaging winds, 50, 70 miles an hour. I could easily see that happening. Now, also worth keeping in mind, we don't need 70 mile an hour to be damaging because we're saturated. We could do that with 50 miles an hour, right? Those trees really probably wouldn't take too much. But as we head through this time frame, again, damaging winds, maybe a few tornadoes embedded within that line are possible, and continued flash flooding chances as we head through there. Now, as we're heading through midnight to 2 a.m., it pushes off towards the 65 corridor, and by the time we're heading through the early morning hours, it's off to our east. And by the time tomorrow morning, we're good. I don't think we're going to be seeing much in the way of rainfall, maybe a scattered shower or two, but we'll be much cooler. So we got that level 2 out of 5 risk across all of the area, and level 3 for some of us. Tishomingo County, southwest there of Savannah, south and west of the Shoals, but you still have portions of Lauderdale County, Colbert County, Franklin County, Corridor X down there towards Winston County in that level 3. So that is kind of highlighting that we are kind of right there on the fritz of it. Still something to take seriously, that much is for sure, primarily again for the overnight hours here as we head through the next 12 to 18 hours specifically. So here's your timeline. Like I said, probably around sunset, that's when we start seeing the first hints of that atmosphere really starting to cooperate for severe weather. We'll watch that out to our west, pushing through 8, 9, 10 o'clock as we head through a core of our viewing area, so southern middle Tennessee to northwest Alabama. I'd say 8 to 12, 8 to midnight or so, that general time frame, probably more specifically 9 to 11, somewhere in that vicinity. As you head out towards the 65 corridor, you're probably going to be talking 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So like I said, we're going to be talking a nocturnal event, which is something you need to take seriously. We're not going to be seeing those beautiful cells like in Kansas, right? We're not going to be seeing some awesomely illuminated daylit cell. This is not going to be that situation, right? We get these nocturnal situations pretty often here in the Tennessee Valley, so you know how it goes. We got a few chances for tornadoes here through the day, so we got to keep that in mind, especially through the evening and overnight specifically, right? Those prefrontals, That's going to be round 1 in some respects, right? They're kind of merged together, but there's a little bit of a window where those prefrontal cells can take advantage of the atmosphere, maybe produce a few tornadoes, some hail, some damaging winds, and then they get merged into the line. Now, the line, that's probably going to be the main threat for widespread stuff, damaging winds 50 to 70 miles an hour. And again, 50 miles an hour could do a tree down just as good as 70 could because of those saturated areas. Hail's not a huge threat. Those prefrontal cells have the better chance at that. And we do have some flooding chances because we're already saturated as well. So, like I mentioned with that tree thing, yeah, it really wouldn't take much to get a little more flash flooding out there. And this being a nighttime situation, we need some resources, right? Resources for if warnings are issued. And I'll tell you what, you can scan this QR code, get the Tennessee Valley Weather app on your iPhone, your Android, Google Play Store, iOS Store, all of that, free all the time, right? We don't do any charges, nothing like that. This is a very important resource. And I'll tell you what, both of these can wake you up. Keep those notifications on your phone. If a warning is issued, it'll let you know. And a Know Our Weather radio will really, really wake you up. That can wake a dead man from his grave. Those things are loud. Very, very useful resources because these nocturnal situations, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, a lot of us are starting to go to sleep, right? So we're going to need a resource to keep us updated and awake if a warning is issued, just in case, because Mother Nature doesn't sleep. She doesn't care if it's 2 in the morning. A tornado is a tornado. Damaging wind is damaging wind. It'll do what it does no matter the time. So some handy resources there. Definitely want you to kind of check those out. Weather radio's not that expensive at the store, but of course our app is always free all the time. All right, so let's take a look at what we got as we head past this system. Cooler, that much is for sure. Getting back into this wintry pattern, and I mean that in a couple of ways. First of all, it's going to be cooler, right? 40s for Monday and Tuesday, mostly dry, but we got the system coming in as we head through the midweek here. I'm going to pause it right here as we head through late Tuesday because there is still some variability as it moves over our area, but you see the general signal, the possibility of wintry precipitation in the area. How about that? A little bit of a bipolar forecast for the next 7 days. Of course, through tonight, as mentioned, roll back if you want more details. We just were talking about it. Severe weather, especially, like I said, sunset and beyond. So stay tuned with us. We'll always, always, always keep you updated if any watches, warnings are issued. Like I said, we'll be pretty much fully staffed through this afternoon and evening and overnight. We'll stay until 6 a.m. if we have to. Don't even worry about it. We are fully committed to that. Rain ending Sunday. Wintry possible on Wednesday. Much, much, much cooler here. That's probably a 35-degree temperature swing over the next 5 days. So, yeah, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and it'll change.